What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly Sports History for November 12th, 2023. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Sunday bye-week edition of This Day in Philly Sports History. Let's start with our question of the day. I asked, what's everybody feeling about the tournament and just what it means? Are you hyped for it? Is it just another game? For the most part, I'm surprised. Most people are just very indifferent to it. And I don't know if that's because suddenly the expectations of the Sixers have changed and it's not a lost season, or if it's new and the NBA hasn't done a good job explaining it. But either way, everybody's pretty much indifferent. It's just another game. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It's just another. I would have liked it possibly later in the year, but we'll see. Maybe as it goes on, it's something that they can look at and tweak. Doing it early in the season while everybody's still kind of hyped up about the beginning of the season. I don't know if that's why they chose to do it that way, but that's where we are. Speaking of the Sixers, tough news yesterday. Kelly Oubre apparently was hit by a car walking outside of his house. I did see that he was released from the hospital. They did say that the injuries were not obviously life-threatening if he was released from the hospital, but not season-ending either. I'm sure we'll get more of an update today as the day goes, which is terrible, terrible news, especially for, one, how well he's been playing, but really just from like a human. It was a hit and run. They don't know. They're looking for the guy, and it's just like I can't imagine hitting somebody and then leaving the scene. To be honest, I can't imagine hitting anybody with my car, period. But just a tough break for Kelly. Wish him the best. Hopefully we get some positive news as it goes. But I think the fact that he left the hospital is a good sign. They are in action tonight against the Pacers. This is not the tournament. The tournament, I believe, will be Tuesday night against the Pacers. So I guess they have 2 games within 4 days against Indiana. But one thing I did want to mention, and I'll kind of leave this topic go for the rest of the year now. But if you haven't seen this yet, go look it up. The Mavs, one of the announcers for the Dallas Mavericks, Brian Demarius, pretty much unloaded on James Harden. And of course, because Twitter and the internet is the best, they put the beat from Nas's Ether in the background. And he just destroyed him. I mean, you have to go check this out on Twitter. Do a search for the Mavs announcer destroying James Harden. But just, man, it was great. It's one of the best things I've seen in a while, so go check that out. I mentioned the Eagles are on a bye week. Doesn't mean you can't go do a little holiday shopping. We'll get into what you do on the bye week in a little bit, but why not go to phillygoat.com, get your Mega John sweatshirt, T-shirt, whichever one you want, get it so you're ready for the next game. This thing is incredible. It's half Megatron, half AJ, 100% incredible. Go to phillygoat.com, use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. phillygoat.com, promo code Jim Montgomery, 10% off. Get your Mega John and check out the other stuff. Like I've been talking so much about the Mega John because we're so hyped up about it, but go check out the other stuff they have. It's just incredible. What a great company. phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. All right, Flyers got a big win against the LA Kings last night, 4-2. Morgan Frost with 2 goals. It's actually a pretty good win. LA is a pretty decent team, and the Flyers, for the most part, they're even right now at 500. It's been much like the Sixers. They've been a lot more fun to watch and entertaining than what we expected. So we'll take it. Carter Hart was expected the past 2 games to start coming back from his injury. Apparently he's been sick, so that's good news too for the Flyers. And I mean, who knows? I mean, the way they're playing, and maybe they can somehow sneak into a playoff. You don't know. I mean, obviously it's a rebuild. We want that to kind of help build the process a little bit, but I don't know. Get this young team a taste of playoff action. Not necessarily opposed to it, but good win for the Flyers, 4-2 over the Kings last night. An update on the Philly story we had the other day, where Nick Castellanos apparently was on the trade block. I just read somewhere last night that it's possible that he might not be on the trade block, and I don't know if that's just some posturing or what. But I think at this point there's a few untouchables on the Phillies, but I don't think it hurts to explore any options, especially with the uncertainty of Aaron Nola. Obviously, it's two postseasons in a row where certain things have been exposed. So if trading Castellanos helps get a contact hitter back in return that isn't going to strike out 500 times a year, I'm all for it. So it's right now with the hot stove in Major League Baseball, everything's just rumors, so you never know. But probably within the next few weeks, we'll start seeing some things taking shape for the Phils. All right, it is the bye week. That means there is no bet for the Eagles today. We are 8-4 on the season on our bets for the Eagles. Don't want to leave you hanging, so I am going to give you a bet. And this game, I've been watching the movement all week. It's staying right around 2.5, 3, and that's the Chargers-Lions. And I think the Lions will. I think the Lions are a good team. I think this is a good opportunity for them to go out and win this game against the Chargers. I really don't have much of a breakdown other than more it's a gut feeling I have. I am putting money on this myself. But I just think the Chargers, it's until they their coach is terrible. So the fact that the Lions are going out there, and now the Lions don't necessarily travel as well as some of the other teams, but there should be a good contingent of Lions fans out there in LA. I think until they get a coach, and maybe it's Bill Belichick next year, you never know. I think the Chargers are just a team that's not realizing their full potential. See the Lions going out there, winning the game. Take the Lions -3. Do it at your own risk, but I am going to take it myself, and I'll count it for our official record. But we are 8-4. Not really much other news on the Eagles, which is good. It's been a quiet bye week so far. So that is our question of the day. What's your favorite thing about a bye week? I'm excited. I'm going out to meet up with some friends. At PJ Willahan's out in Downingtown to watch the first games, the early games. Something you don't really get to do because you're trying to focus on the Eagles or going to games or whatever it is. So I'm looking forward to that. Are you even watching football? Some people might just completely shut it off and do something with the family. Let me know, what is your favorite thing to do during the bye week? That is today's question of the day. I know some people are like, hey, let's go for a bike ride. There are people, maybe you're putting the Christmas decorations up. Who knows? Let me know what you're doing on the bye week. One thing you should be doing, and some of these guys I'm going to be hanging out with today, so I'm excited about that. Check out the Clashing Conferences podcast. It's an around the horn style take on the NFC East. Great content. Good bunch of guys. It's very entertaining, and it's just funny the way their personalities and everything kind of bounce off of each other. So go give them a listen. It's definitely worth it. The Clashing Conferences podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. All right, today we're going to go back to 1990, and there might not be any Eagles football today, but on this day, back in 1990, the Eagles took on Washington on Monday Night Football. The Washington team came in 5-3. The Eagles were 4-4. So this was a huge game. Prior to the game, Buddy Ryan said that they were going to put a beating on Washington so bad that they'll, quote, they'll be carted off in body bags. Well, when the smoke cleared, the Eagles won 28-14. Heath Sherman had 2 touchdown catches, one by Keith Byers. William Frizzell and Clyde Simmons each had defensive touchdowns to lead the way. 9 Washington players left the games with injuries, including quarterbacks Jeff Rutledge and Stan Humphries. They finished that game with a rookie, you might know this name, Brian Mitchell, playing quarterback. And this ended up being an important game, but this obviously is what is known as the body bag game, where the Eagles defense just completely they dominated Washington this game. Brian Mitchell, as we know, also finished his career with the Eagles. But this was an important game, not because of the Buddy Ryan lore and that defense, but because this helped the Eagles get the tiebreaker over Washington which allowed them to host the wild card game that year against that Washington team. And that Washington team essentially ended Buddy Ryan's coaching tenure in Philadelphia. But on this day, it was the Eagles getting the dominating win over Washington, 28-14 on Monday Night Football, where that defense really came into its own. And going into the 91 season, the expectations were sky high, and that's when Randall suffered his injury. But Eagles 28-14 over Washington in the body bag game on this day back in 1990. So the players were taken out in body bags that game, but the trash in the back of my truck, I'm taking it out by hand, and it's super annoying. My car can is on the way. It's the solution you've been waiting for. Put it on the back of your seat, have your kids put the stuff in, take the bag out, throw it away, rinse, wash, repeat. It's a great, great thing. If you don't have kids and you don't know what I'm talking about, Car Can still has something for you. Organize your car. They have cup holders. They have things for the trunk I've been telling you about. Just go check them out, carcan.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery 20 off, which is all one word, for 20% off of your order. These things make a great gift, especially if you're in an office setting. Give it out to Donna in accounting. Give it to the marketing team, whoever. It makes a great gift, and the more you buy, the more bigger of a discount you get. Order over 5, you get free shipping. 10, they drop the cost down. These things are only $9.99. So $9.99, take the 20% off. Buy multiple ones and give them out to, like I said, give them to your neighbors. It might be a good gift for your mailman. Who knows? But go to carcan.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery 20 off, all one word, for 20% off of your order. All right, finally today we are going to stick with a football theme, and we've been talking about the most disappointing athletes in Philly history. Today we are going to look at the Eagles and one Bobby Hoying. Bobby was a third-round pick in 1996, number 85 overall out of Ohio State. Should have known then, but I digress. Took over the starter 10 games into the 1997 season. That back then, if you remember, like the end of the Randall Cunningham era, they had Randall, and then Rodney Peete was there, and then Ty Detmer, and it was just kind of a complete mess. Ray Rhodes just couldn't figure out. Nobody actually really wanted to be quarterback. Nobody really stepped up. But Bobby Hoying came in and played decent over the course of those last 6 games. They didn't have a good team around him. But in his 6 starts, he went 2-3-1, threw 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, almost 6,000 yards. That doesn't sound right. 6,000 yards. No, scratch that. 1,600 yards. I can't read my own writing. I'm like, wait a minute. That would be a lot of hype for Bobby. But no, Bobby had almost 1,600 yards in 6 games. And again, they didn't have a very good team around him. Irving Fryer was on that team, but that was pretty much the extent. But gave us a lot of promise going into the 1998 season. There was a lot of hype and excitement. He was the quarterback of the future. Everybody was excited. And then the 1998 season happened, and he was benched halfway through the year. Didn't win a game, threw 0 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and just was the complete opposite of what we wanted. That season, the Eagles went 3-13 in Ray Rhodes' last year, which ultimately led to him being fired. Andy Reid coming in. Andy Reid wanted no parts of Bobby Hoying, so he released him. I think Bobby went on to play with the Raiders for a little bit. It was pretty solid. I think he played somewhere else, but I know he went from Philly to Oakland. But just, man, that 6-game stretch in 1997 had us all thinking we had found the answer to quarterback. And then in 1998, he was the complete opposite. So today's most disappointing Philly athlete, Bobby Hoying. I just remember those were kind of like the dark days of Eagles football, and just thinking that we had found something with Bobby Hoying. I remember I went to, forget which game it was. I think it was the tie. They tied, I believe the Cardinals, they tied during that run. And I was at that game, and it was like he looked good. But no, it just was not meant to be. Or maybe it was a Cincinnati game. Either way, I saw Bobby Hoying play that season, and I thought, man, this guy is good. And I had obstructed view seats where at the old vet, like you had seats on the sideline, you couldn't see over the players. But just was never meant to be. Bobby Hoyne disappointing us all, but his poor play helped lead to Andy Reid and Donovan and that whole era of football. So I guess it wasn't all bad for Bobby Hoyne. On this day back in 1990, it was the body bag game. The Eagles beating Washington 28-14. It's the bye week. Let me know. What are you doing today for the bye week? Are you watching football? Are you doing something complete opposite? Raking leaves, hanging Christmas lights? Let me know. Going out hunting for a turkey? Who knows what you're doing today? Christmas shopping. And if you are doing Christmas shopping, check out Philly Goat and Car Can. Use those promo codes and you won't be disappointed. Now you don't even have to go out and fight the crowds at the store. I got you covered. Wishing the best to Kelly Oubre as he recovers from being hit by a car. Just a crazy story. Just insane. But enjoy your bye week. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Sunday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.